Hello and welcome to another complete Cambridge IGCSE PE lesson. Today we'll begin with the second chapter in the syllabus, the respiratory system, starting with the pathway of air and gaseous exchange. As always, we'll be focusing only on the learning objectives found in the official Cambridge textbook, and we'll cover absolutely everything you need to know for your final exam. There are 3 learning objectives today: to identify the different components of the respiratory system, to describe the pathway of air into the body, and to understand the role of the alveoli during gaseous exchange. We'll start by simply defining the respiratory system as the series of organs responsible for taking in oxygen and expelling carbon dioxide. We know that the body requires oxygen, but also needs to rid itself of waste products that build up during exercise. The function of the respiratory system is therefore to draw air into the lungs so that oxygen can pass into the bloodstream and carbon dioxide can diffuse outwards. Once oxygen enters the bloodstream, it can be transported to the working muscles via the heart, blood and blood vessels so that energy can be produced. We'll study these processes in detail in an upcoming video, but for now let's take a look at the anatomy of the system. There are 5 structures that you need to know. The first is the mouth and nasal passage or nose. These are of course the first structures through which air passes as we inhale or breathe in. The trachea is otherwise known as the windpipe. It's reinforced with cartilage to protect the airway and prevent it from collapsing. The bronchi are the 2 branches of the trachea. One directs air to the left lung and the other to the right. Next are the bronchioles, which are the smaller branches of the bronchi. There are many of these, and their role is to distribute air throughout the lungs. Finally, we have the alveoli, which are tiny air sacs that number in the hundreds of millions. Gaseous exchange takes place here, which is the process in the lungs by which oxygen diffuses into the bloodstream and carbon dioxide is removed from it. When we breathe in, air passes through the mouth or nasal passage and down into the trachea, where it splits off into the left and right lungs via the 2 bronchi. The bronchi then branch off again into the smaller and more numerous bronchioles before reaching their final destination, the alveoli. Make sure now that you're able to describe the 5 structures of the respiratory system as I have, and that you remember their order as oxygen passes from the atmosphere towards the alveoli. Our third learning objective requires us to look at the alveoli in greater detail. We need to describe the physical features of the alveoli and explain how these features enable them to carry out their role efficiently. The first thing to note is their huge collective surface area. The air sacs have a specialised shape, maximising contact between the oxygen-rich air within and the surrounding blood outside. This, combined with the fact that they're so numerous, means that their total surface area, if laid flat and side by side, is similar to that of a tennis court. The alveoli are also extremely delicate, as their walls are just 1 cell thick. The distance over which gases are exchanged is therefore short and unobstructed, allowing oxygen and carbon dioxide to diffuse freely. The lining of the alveoli is kept moist as the lungs secrete a liquid called surfactant. This moist surface helps gases to diffuse, speeding up the rate of oxygen uptake and carbon dioxide removal. Now, since the role of the alveoli is to mediate the exchange of gases between air and blood, each air sac is surrounded by a complex network of tiny blood vessels called capillaries. This excellent blood supply allows gases to move freely both into and out of the blood with ease. The sheer number of capillaries in the lungs combines with the fact that their walls are also just 1 cell thick, again minimizing diffusion distance for efficient gaseous exchange. Finally, the alveoli are well ventilated. This means that as we inhale, they expand and fill with air, making for a consistent supply of oxygen and a speedy removal of carbon dioxide. Now, you might be surprised to know that we've already covered everything you need to know on topic 1.2 for your final exam. If you're struggling to remember anything at this point, don't worry. Information is rarely stored in the long-term memory first time around, so revisit this lesson whenever you need, and remember that repetition is key. As always, I hope you found this video useful, and I will see you in the next one.